I have to tell you about Silverwax because it is my favorite thing to use to clean my car. Start with the Ultra Foam Soap, which gets your car nice and clean, and it also will not damage the wax, paint sealant, or ceramic coating on your car. All it does is get it super clean. And then I have to tell you about the ceramic lotus effect, which you can put on after you clean your car. It gives you absolute protection, beating and shine. You shake it, you spray it on, you spread it on a section, and then you wipe it with one of those clean Silverwax microfiber cloths. And if you want to get in on this, use our code SDPN10. That'll get you 10% off of Silverwax products. You can use that code at silverwax.ca. Silverwax is also available at your local Canadian Tire. I can't recommend it enough. If you want to clean your car, it's getting to spring. It's that time of year to shine up your car and make it look nice in the sun. Go to silverwax.ca, use that code SDPN10, or find it at your local Canadian Tire.
The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
We have controversy in South Florida, and of course, Matthew Tkachuk is at the center of the whole thing. So the Florida Panthers took a 2-0 series lead against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and heading back home now to Sunrise, Florida. They took those two games on the road, to remind you. So they're back home now, game number 3, and it's a close game for a lot of it. Tampa looks to be playing like the better team for a lot of it, and eventually, in the third period, things open up. Tampa gains a couple goal lead. It's eventually 4-1, and around 5 minutes left is where we get to the issue, because Matthew Tkachuk turns around at center ice and decides to nail Jake Guentzel with a giant body check. It's a clean hit. It's shoulder to chest. He smacks him right to the ground. It's a great check, but it comes very late after the play. Jake Guentzel has the puck at center ice. He barely has the puck, actually. He's just kind of chipping it forward to Cirelli, who ends up putting it into the empty net. And there's a lot of time for Matthew Tkachuk to make a decision on what to do. Matthew Tkachuk is ahead of the play. Jake Guentzel is behind him. Matthew Tkachuk decides to turn back to Guentzel, who just chipped it forward to Cirelli. So Guentzel no longer has the puck, and Matthew Tkachuk decides, I'm going to turn, I'm going to follow through with this play and lay a body check right through Jake Guentzel. And that's exactly what he does. Now, in normal circumstances, this isn't that controversial, in my opinion. I think this is 2 minutes for interference, obviously. The reason this hit has an extra level of controversy on top of being a relatively late hit, I think anybody looking at this hit will see that it is a late hit. It's because it came one day after Brandon Hagel was suspended for laying a body check on Barkov. Barkov was not injured on the play. He went down and it looked like he was going to be out for this game 3. Ended up Barkov was a lot better than we all thought, and he was able to play in this game. But Hagel, when he laid that hit an opponent who was not eligible to be hit at all. Barkov never touched the puck on the play where Brandon Hagel hit him. The puck was being chipped by the Tampa Bay Lightning around the back of the boards, and it looked like Barkov might get to the puck, but he never got to the puck. Brandon Hagel continued with his body check, and he checked Barkov right through his shoulder, which rode up a little to his head, but the main principal point of contact was the shoulder, and he nailed him right to the ice, right down to the bottom of the boards. It was a brutal hit, and he got penalized on that play, and then he eventually was suspended for 1 game. So this hit now by Matthew Tkachuk comes 48 hours after that hit and 24 hours after the suspension was laid down. So how do we look at it with those eyes? I am of the opinion that if the NHL looks at what Matthew Tkachuk did to Jake Guentzel through the same lens that they looked at the Hagel hit on Barkov, then Matthew Tkachuk should be suspended for 1 game. And I'm basing that strictly on the timing of when Tkachuk laid the hit. Hagel's hit was much more violent than Barkov's, but Hagel's hit came when it was 1-0 Florida over Tampa. The game was not over. There was plenty of hockey to be played, and Tampa was searching for 1 extra goal to tie the game. When Matthew Tkachuk laid his hit. It was 4-1 on the scoreboard with 5 minutes left. The game was about to be out of reach as Cirelli was scoring on the empty net, and Matthew Tkachuk, with an intent to just lay an illegal hit, an interference play, got his pound of flesh. There was more intent to injure in Matthew Tkachuk's hit than there was in Brandon Hagel's, even though Brandon Hagel's hit was much more violent than Matthew Tkachuk's. Matthew Tkachuk's hit, I think, in every circumstance, if Guentzel has the puck or is even a little closer to the puck and is closer to his pass, then that check is completely fine. But because Matthew Tkachuk laid his hit so far after Guentzel let go of the puck when he barely even had it, and the video evidence of Matthew Tkachuk turning around at center ice to lay this hit when the puck is long gone the other direction of where he was going. And if you are playing hockey in that play, your intention should not be to lay a body check. Your intention should be to try and block your open net. So I think the intention there to injure Jake Guentzel on the play, which he was not injured. Jake Guentzel probably should have laid down and been stretchered off the ice because this thing looks a lot worse if he is injured on that play. And I think it's a little more cut and dry that Matthew Tkachuk should be suspended, as it looked like Barkov was going to be injured for a while when Brandon Hagel laid his hit. Like, the NHL does take into account how injured the player was. And if Guentzel was injured, I think Matthew Tkachuk is probably looking at discipline for sure. But because it's so gray right now, I don't know which way the NHL is going to go. But I'm looking at this play and I'm seeing a 5-1 score, a 4-1 score that's about to be 5-1, and a guy going out of his way to lay an illegal body check. And what the NHL has said in this series with the Brandon Hagel suspension, in that we're not letting you hit guys who are ineligible to be hit. That is illegal. It is unacceptable. That's going to earn you a 1-game suspension. And I think in this case, Jake Guentzel let the puck off so far away from where Matthew Tkachuk was. And if Matthew Tkachuk is actually trying to make a play there, his play should not be laying a hit. His play should be chasing the puck that's going towards his empty net and trying to get in front of that puck. So I'm not buying the argument that he was doing anything but trying to inflict injury on an opposing player. He did do it with a cleaner hit than Hagel did on Barkov, but that does not mean his intent was any less severe. That's where I'm sitting on this whole thing. But we do have a bit of fun to go along with this because John Cooper and Paul Maurice are going at each other in the press conferences. So before the game, Paul Maurice said, "The only players we hit are the ones with the pucks." And that was in response to Hagel hitting Barkov, who never touched the puck. And John Cooper, post-game, gave us everything we could have ever wanted, and he dropped the line at the end of his post-game presser, "The only players we hit are the ones with the pucks." Here he is saying that.
Comments on that? Do you expect any repercussions from the league after what we just saw with Hagel?
The only players we hit are the ones with pucks. So,
excellent. Round of applause to these two gentlemen going back and forth in their press conferences. This is exactly what we want out of this series between these two guys who love the media so much. I assume they love the media because of how much they play with them in these press conferences. So I'm looking forward to their next set of post-game and pre-game pressers. It's going to be a good time hearing them already sparring in this way. It's been a fantastic series, this Florida-Tampa one. Let me know where you sit on the Tkachuk suspension thing. I think 1 game would be fair. You've heard my opinion. Let me hear yours in the YouTube comments on the Jesse Blake Sports Report YouTube channel. And while you are there, hit subscribe on the channel and hit like on this video. And this is also available on all audio platforms on your favorite podcasting apps. This is it for me tonight. Thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere in the world, but chose to be listening or watching right now. And I appreciate you for that. Good night from Toronto.
And that is how it's done.
The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
Jesse Blake, the guy that likes to hear his name twice in one sentence. Sure, I know him. No, he doesn't have an ego.